Mandy, and today I'm going to do the intimidating TBR book tag. There's been a handful of people doing this recently, and it just seemed like a lot of fun, and I personally am someone whose TBR has gotten way out of hand recently. Like, I'm getting dangerously close to the ratio of more books I need to read than books I currently own that I have read, so I've got plenty of options for this tag today. First up is a book that you just can't seem to finish, and for me that was The Folded Earth by Anudra Roy. Might have butchered that name, sorry. This book is so tiny. It's a teeny tiny little book and I am only that far in. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know if it's just because this is a very slow prose or something, but I just cannot finish this book. Then we have a book where you just don't have the time to read it, and of course I have the time to read it because I finished like 3 other books during this reading, but I cannot finish Off the Page. This is by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer, and I just can't find the time to read this. You know, I read 3 volumes of Saga last night, but I just don't have the time to read this one. Number 3 is a sequel that you just can't seem to read, and I have book 5 of The Mortal Instruments. I've talked about this series a lot in my booktube world, and I just can't really get into it. I know it's massively popular, and there are some things in it that I really like, but I just hate the 2 main characters. Clary and Jace are just awful to me, and I feel like their romance is completely unbelievable, and look at the cover of this. Why do you think I can't make myself read it? Next is something that's brand new to your TBR, and this is a pre-order that just arrived to me last night. Volume 3 of Rat Queens! Ah! I love Rat Queens so much. The first 2 volumes were absolutely hilarious and amazing, and the second volume started getting into the really like nitty-gritty character details, which I love, so I cannot wait to read volume 3. Actually, the only reason I didn't read it last night was because I knew I wanted to make this video, and it wasn't going to count as a TBR if I would already read it. So as soon as I'm done filming, I'm getting into this. Now, number 5 was supposed to be an author that you haven't really liked, but you have one of their books to be read, and I don't have any of those. If there's an author that I'm consistently not enjoying, I don't keep buying their books. So I'm going to change it to an author you have previously loved and have a book of theirs you haven't gotten around to yet. And mine was Rick Riordan's Magnus Chased and the Sword of Summer. This is the first book in his new series dealing with Norse mythology. I absolutely love Rick Riordan. He might even be just my favorite author. The only reason I haven't gotten around to this was because after purchasing it, I realized if I read this right away, I'm going to have so much time until book 2, so I've been kind of procrastinating because I like to marathon my series. Number 6, a book that you're just not in the mood to read, and for me that is Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends. I absolutely love all of his books. Anyone in my age group grew up reading them just like I did, I'm sure. They're adorable, they're fun, they're really short and just sweet, and the artwork is great. But I've just been in the mood for really like dark, nitty-gritty, kind of violent stuff lately, so I just haven't been in the mood to pick this up. Then we need to find a giant, huge book that you're just plain old intimidated to read, and for me that is Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld, because this book is giant. I got this book on an amazing sale at Book Outlet, and I'm excited to read it. It sounds really cool, but I'm just so intimidated, especially since I've been reading a lot of comics lately. This just seems huge. Number 8, a book you bought but then read a bunch of bad reviews and now you're not sure about it. And for me that's book 2 in The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. Zero confidence I'm saying his name right. I just recently finished reading book 1 and was pretty underwhelmed. It was fine, but it was just missing a lot for me. So I'm not really sure about going into book 2. A lot of people on Goodreads have the same opinion, but I do think I'm still going to give it a try. And number 9, what is the most intimidating thing on your TBR? And for me, that is a non-fiction book about Alexander the Great. Robin Lane Fox is the one who put all this information together. It's just a collection of how Alexander shaped both history and kind of the mythos of the man. I'm really wanting to read this. I'm a huge history buff, and to me, Alexander the Great is probably the most interesting person in our history. But I'm just intimidated to read this. I know it's going to be really dense, and it's kind of going to feel like reading a textbook, and since I'm in school right now, I'm already reading a lot of textbooks, so this is just going to sit on my shelf until I can kind of just get over it and rise to the occasion. So this is my intimidating TBR, which is also really heavy. Which is fitting, I think, because it's scary. As always, if you want to do this video, consider yourself tagged in it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.